I see you.
Thank you for being here with me today. Wouldn't it be nice to have a 3-day weekend all the time? Well, it turns out that research in medicine, sleep, cognitive science, and organizational psychology suggests that a short work week should be the norm. A 3-day work week would be better for Americans in many different ways. I've been fascinated with the research that scientists have been doing about having a 3-day weekend, and I've read and studied on the topic, and I have organized a speech for you guys so that you can understand the reasons why we should have a 3-day weekend every week. First, I'm going to discuss why a 4-day work week is better. Second, I'm going to discuss how productivity is actually increased instead of decreased, even though we are working less. And third, I'm going to discuss the work weeks around the world. Why should Americans have a 3-day work week? What's so great about it? Well, it turns out that it's actually better for your health. Decades of research have found that it's absolutely terrible for your heart when you're working all the time and always under stress. The meta-analysis study, which is basically a study of studies, looked for a link between heart disease and being overworked. It turns out that in over 600,000 men and women of European, Australian, and Americans that worked 55 hours a week or more had a 33% raise in risk for stroke than the people that worked less than 40 hours. Overworked employees have a rise in the risk of heart disease by 13% compared to those who don't work long hours. This information came from the Lancet, which is an informational site about global health. Another study published in the Lancet said manual labor, non-white collar jobs had a 30% increase in type 2 diabetes than the people that worked 40 hours at the same types of jobs. You'd also get more sleep if you worked less than 40 hours. You'd have it easier. Research shows that you'd get to sleep easier, you'd have less stress, so you'd be sleeping longer, and you would be a lot more calm and relaxed. The journal Sleep posted an article that says you'll be waking up more refreshed if you're working less than 40 hours because you won't be as stressed. You'd also be nicer because when you're stressed out, you get grouchy and mad and frustrated at the little things, and so you'd be a lot nicer and a lot happier if you worked less than 40 hours. Now that I've discussed the reasons for how the 4-day work week is better, I'll tell you about the productivity. In the 19th century, factory owners were forced to go from 10-hour days to 8-hour days, and they were actually surprised to find that productivity increased. So in 2009, some Harvard Business School researchers decided to redo the same kind of experiment. At a Boston law firm, they made the consultants, all the people that worked there, they made half of them work their regular schedules, their 50-plus hour weeks, stressed out, and then the other half, they made them take off at least one day of the week with no emails, no calls, nothing work-related at all. And then they found after 5 months of doing this that productivity actually increased. Clientele was a lot happier with the services that they were getting, and it was actually working out a lot better for them than the people that had to work all the time and their workloads were still so large and they were still so stressed out. Now that I've discussed how it's better for productivity, I'll tell you about countries around the world. The average Canadian works 36.6 hours a week. Americans work an average of around 40. France has a 35-hour work week, and Germany has a 30-hour work week. And Germans, they generally work Monday through Thursday, and they take off half of Thursday, and they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And just like, in the other studies, Germany has a lot more productivity. and they're a lot more meticulous about their work when they're not so stressed out, and they can take the time to do it because they're more relaxed and everything. So today, first, I discussed the effects of a 3-day weekend on your health. Secondly, I discussed how it helps with production. And thirdly, I discussed the work weeks around the world. Having a 3-day weekend is much better for Americans. In conclusion, hopefully with all this information I've given you, you too will believe that we should have a 4-day work week all the time. Thank you.